And last on my list for today is so far I say that, but last on my list for today, 25th of November 2019, is to just do a global indices analyses and have a talk through why I think there's a possibility that we might see these change direction. So first of all, at the outset, I got to say I don't have any intentions of trading these if they do this. I'm just simply looking at why the reasoning is that they might do this. So overall, first of all, starting with Dow, Wall Street, very nice and bullish, broken through historical resistance, not overextended. And also on the weekly, this is where it gets interesting, is produced an indecision candle, so this bearish candle. So what I need to see is to see the low of last week's candle broken before the high. And if that's going to happen, then over the coming days this week, I would see it break the low there. And so I'm looking for the same thing on the S&P. Also an indecision candle, and these usually come at these points where the market might do that, but I need to see it break the low before breaking the high on that weekly time frame. Again, looking at the tech, so in other words, it's occurred across the board. Bearish candle, need to see it break the low of that. Russell 2000 going through that. Also, this struggling with some resistance here, and a break of that low would also signify weakness. You can see it's really struggling with that resistance level at 1600. Looking at the FTSE, so this one actually looking bullish. So the FTSE currently, although there is some resistance here, it is definitely looking more bullish than bearish, which I find interesting. The DAX also has that indecision, and a nice break and head lower down towards 13,000 would be a nice way for it to take a breather before resuming that uptrend as we head into Christmas. Now, the Hang Seng, which is kind of more bullish than bearish generally, and a lot more indecisive, this is also looking bullish at the moment. So that's also leaning towards the upside. The Nikkei looking bullish, at least on that daily, and it's already had a retracement. So this looks more bullish than bearish. And these are reasons why we're not seeing that bearishness across the board. We're seeing it more with the US, American, and European indices, also struggling with some resistance up here at the ASX 200 there, the Australian one. Now, just want to throw into the mix Apple. So Apple has been running on the weekly. It's produced a solid bearish candle on the weekly, and that if we break the low of this, it's reasonable for me, I believe, to expect price to head down towards 25,000. Okay, not necessarily, it's not ridiculously overextended on that weekly, on the monthly, I beg your pardon. And at some point, I do expect it to head lower. But for now, to see it break the low and pull back down would make complete sense to me. So I'm seeing that as a possibility, but I'm not going to trade it to the downside. But what I'm looking to do is to see it break the low of the weekly candle, and then I'll reassess at that point. So that's just on my watch list this week in terms of analysis.